So Leo, you've just returned from this extraordinary adventure on Mount Asgard, Baffin Island, in the Canadian Arctic. You were expedition leader. You're obviously coordinating a pretty large team of climbers and equipment. Hugely challenging project. Can you tell us a bit about the approach to the route and the difficulties you faced just getting the team and all the equipment just to base camp and then to the base of the wall?
Yeah, Asgard is in the middle of nowhere, and it's a mission getting there. You can walk in; it's about 30 miles, but you need so much kit to climb a wall like that you'd have to do probably 3, possibly 4 loads. So it'd take 2 or 3 weeks to hike everything in. It's a big deal. You need a lot of shit. I mean, even free climbing on El Cap, it's hard enough. And that's roadside, and the weather's always good. You just need so much kit on these walls, and to get all that stuff into the middle of nowhere. Yeah. I mean, just getting, and then on the northwest face of Asgard, there's the approach slabs and the snow, which is pretty straightforward to get up, but not. You have to bring all the kit up it, and it wasn't that straightforward, to be perfectly honest, and it was really dangerous. So
threatened by rockfall.
Massive amounts of rockfall and dangerous stuff. And
so just to get all of the equipment you needed to the base of the wall.
Just to get to the start of the climb was like one of the biggest adventures I've ever been on. Just to get to the start, it was fucking epic. And as you'll all see in the film, one thing and another. Basically, I didn't think it'd be very exciting making a film about hiking loads for 3 weeks. And we were already making this film, so I thought, man, we chartered a plane and we skydived in, which to my knowledge is the first time anyone's ever started a climbing trip.
And to move to the actual climbing on the wall, you obviously face some extraordinarily challenging conditions trying to free climb up to a very high standard in temperatures of -5 or even colder. Perhaps you can tell us a bit about just the challenge of trying to free climb this wall in such bad conditions.
Well, obviously, free climbing big walls is hard. Big granite walls, steep ones, they either go or they don't in many ways. Like granite, when it's impossible, it's impossible. And to be perfectly honest, the northwest face of Mount Asgard, when you look at it, you think that's not going to go. You can't really see.
You can't link the dots.
It doesn't quite hang together. And the route that we did in Ukshuk, it almost hangs together. And I reckon, given better conditions, we would have probably been able to free 90% of it.
And it features some pretty hard aid climbing.
Yeah, well, A3+, but it's new wave, so, aid climbing goes up to A5, but new wave aid climbing is a complicated subject. And basically, unless you're going to get hurt badly, it never gets more than A3+. So it's actually very technical, very difficult aid climbing without serious danger.
Sure.
Because there's bolts every sort of 20 meters, there'd be a bolt, so you're never going to take a death fall. But it was really hard aid, some of the hardest aid I've ever done. Sure. But yeah, we were there to free it, and basically, there's a few sections which are pretty much impossible, pretty short. However, the rest of it's definitely on at E7. There wouldn't be anything more than E7 on it, I don't reckon.
And then these sections you first referred to as, potentially impossible. Do you think that, given the right conditions, perfect, stable weather, warmer temperatures, do you think there's any way those few?
Well, the deal is, on a big wall, you have to look for options. You follow a line, and then when you get to a blank bit, you have to explore the options. Now, that is actually really hard. To get 50 meters to the left is a big deal. It means you have to go 200 meters up, and then tension traverse, rappel down, or you have to climb a completely different line. So yes, if you had a lot of time and a lot of good weather, you could possibly explore big variations. The reason that I'm not going to go back next year to finish the route is because I'm not 100% sure it'd go 100% free. I've seen it, and I studied it, and if I thought it would go 100%, I'd be back there next summer. 90% free is not the same as 100% free. And to invest all that time and energy and love into another expedition for a 90% route, I'm not willing to do it.
It's a big risk.
And I looked at it enough to know. But basically, we got schooled by the weather. We were there too late. If you ever go to Baffin Island, go in July, because the summer's short. And on the 20th of August, everyone told us before we went, we only got 22nd of August, full winter conditions. And as a result, we did get our asses kicked, basically. And we were pretty lucky that no one got frostbite or anything because I wasn't anticipating full winter conditions. It's fucking
so
August.
Significantly colder than you anticipated.
Yeah, way colder. And like -5 gets thrown off the cuff in the film. We didn't have a thermometer with us, so we've got no idea what the temperature. Irrelevant of wind chill, by the end of the trip, we were boiling snow and putting it in a bottle, and within an hour, a 2-litre bottle was rock solid.
Free climbing on a big wall is
A pain in the arse.
Difficult enough as it is, let alone in those temperatures. Can you just give a brief idea of the problems you faced actually simply trying to free climb anything, no matter how difficult in such low temperatures?
Well, 2 things. Basically, the deal is on a big wall, if you do it on site, it's not a big issue because you've done it. Do you know what I mean? And even if you end up having to take 2 hours on the pitch, you've done it and that's it, wrapped up, next bit. Once you don't on site it, and you start pulling on gear or you fully have to wade climb, then you have to start investing lots of time and energy messing around and, you know, cleaning ropes. You know what it's like. It's a real pain. And basically, we all know there comes a point when you can't free climb anymore. It just gets too cold. And I'm pretty confident that the boys I was there with are hardcore. I know I am, and I know that we were pushing ourselves hard. But it gets to a point where you're like, we're not being hardcore anymore, we're being stupid. Some of the pitches were taking 5 hours. 40-metre pitch would take 5 hours. Stanley lives in Yosemite. He did the Salathé Wall in 5 hours. He's one of the fastest aid climbers in the world. And the pitches were taking us 5 hours. We're not slow. So belay duty, every belay except one was a hanging belay. 20 pitch route, they were all hanging belays.
So the risk of
It's
getting mild
freezing.
hypothermia is always there.
Totally, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the belay stints were awful. And the thing with Asgard, Dave, that's really cool is the middle bit of the wall is fully
steep.
overhanging for like more than 1,000 feet. It's totally. You only see it from certain angles, but
300
it's
or 400 metres of overhanging rock.
fully
Right.
overhanging. Like
Amazing. So huge challenges, massive adventure. Very severe conditions. The feeling of getting to the top must have been, obviously a huge relief, but also incredibly satisfying.
Well, it was bittersweet. You know what I mean? I didn't go there to wade climb up Asgard. I went there to free climb it. So, to be perfectly honest, I am a bit bummed that we didn't get to free climb more. But it was so hardcore that it doesn't feel like a failure getting to the top. Ultimately, we did fail in what we set out to do.
In a way, the disappointment of not being able to free the whole route
was
outweighed by the huge
was
adventure
outweighed
of
by the fact nobody died, because it was really gnarly. Like, I'm telling you, I've had my fair share of like thrills and spills, and this was a complete different level. And like, we can laugh about it now, but it was way closer to the mark than, like, people nearly died on more than one occasion.